Te Roro Te Rangi is the name of the Wharenui. Te Roro Te Rangi is the ancestor that ties in with all the other hapu and iwi that our whānau belong to. Whakaue kai Haupapa, he had a number of children, and one of them is Titanikai, who had a number of children, and one of them is Whatu Rangi, who had a son, and his name is Ariari Te Rangi, who had a number of sons, and one, the eldest, is Te Roro Te Rangi. So just in those 4 generations, we have many marae. We have many whānau hapu and iwi, all connected to Te Roro Te Rangi. Te Roro Te Rangi's younger brother is Tunahopu, and that's the name of the marae that's 400 metres down the road. You know, what is the Wharenui? It's a connection between all of that, right up to who we are. You go into many of our Wharenui around Lake Rotorua, we have carved figures, popo they're called, and usually those are descendants of. But in this marae, we only have minimal carvings, apart from Turipuku, which is the one who stands at the bottom of the Pautoko Manawa, the heart of the house. So what is a house? It's a person. It has arms. My mum always says that the arms of the Wharenui that come down, that's the arms of the ancestor waiting to greet and welcome. And so everything inside the Wharenui is like a piece of a jigsaw picture. If you know this piece, it'll connect to the next piece, to the next piece, to the next piece, and at the end of it all, it'll make a nice big picture. But this Wharenui is also part of another bigger jigsaw picture, which includes the wharekai, the whenua, the awa. When I first started with the pepeha and I talked about Ngongotaha, the river that flows right next to our marae, it comes out of the hills around the side of Ngongotaha. So it's about all of those connections. There was an official holiday now for New Zealanders to celebrate Matariki. And many people in Rotorua and throughout the country say, what is Matariki? What's the purpose of Matariki? And so on. So I asked my mother and I said, Mum, what do you know about Matariki? And my mum says, I don't know anything about Matariki. I don't know about the stars. I don't know about all of the history that goes with it. But what I do know is that in my meeting house, which is Te Roro Te Rangi, when you look up, you can see 1,000 stars in the sky up here. There is Matariki.
I think if I go back to the start of my involvement with it, and the late Maria Tini was alive, and this was one of her dreams, was to upgrade our whare tūpuna. But sadly, she was taken from us before she could. I think one of my goals was to carry that wish on. We achieved securing funding for when we first lifted the whare tūpuna Te Roro Te Rangi. When we did lift the whare, one of our mokopuna found a toki but had obviously been put under the whare. It had a manuka handle on it, and te toki o tāpere, and I don't know who that was. We actually gave the toki to one of our whānau to take away and preserve the timber of it, but it was never to be seen again. The foundations, the old ones were totally gone. The floor, when we used the old foundation, we walked in it and you could hear the creaks and the groans. But when we actually lifted the whare, it wasn't the floor itself it was the piles that were shot. And once we put the new piles under the whare, and there's no creaks and groans in it now, yeah. When this whare was first built, the road was the river. When we uplifted te Roro. A lot of people said, why don't you turn it back to the road? But if we did that, we would lose the authenticity of how it was originally built.
There is no one answer. What is a wharenui? Because every person will have their own meaning. That's what a marae is. Every marae have to find a way to feel how they belong, how this is my marae, this is my wharenui, this is my wharekai. What can I do to help?